Compliments of the season to you, and I welcome you to another video tutorial on the XAUUSD. And as usual, I will be taking you through my thought process on what my expectation is going to be like for this new week, which is going to be starting in the next, I think, 10 hours from now. Before I go into the details here, I want us to quickly look at how last week went by. As we were profitable last week, we were able to close the week with over 4,000 pips in profit as we took advantage. Initially, at the beginning of the week, we had some selling momentum that we took advantage of that move here, and before we also bought around above the 1795. We rode that move all the way into the 1808 level, where price action was caught within a huge channel. So we had that move to the downside, and we also added one more position to that buy entry. However, during the midweek of last week, we saw a situation where price was caught within the channel around the 1821 and the 1815, where we were anticipating a breakout or breakdown of that channel to give us a leverage of where price might be going. And fortunately for us, on I think on Thursday, we finally witnessed the breakdown of the channel at the 1018,814 level, which gave us that opportunity to join the decline to the downside. And that is how we took advantage of that move, which gave us over 3,000 pips in profit. So it was a very profitable week last week. And if you would like to have a peep into how we took advantage of every opportunities, well, I will be dropping the link to that video right in the comment section for reference purposes. So, with that being said, I want us to dive into the current chart and let's see what is really going on in this market right now. Well, we identified the structure on the daily time frame where we noticed our price action has been on a long-term bearish momentum, and in addition to the bearish trend line is that very important key level at the $1,800 level. And if you go into the past here and see how this level has been a major factor in deciding price movement since the beginning of the year, you see how impressive it was. So during the first couple of months this year, we saw how that $1,800 level was holding by pressure. The same thing happened here in the month of May. We also saw buy pressure coming around here before it was negated by selling pressure around this area, which led to a final breakdown of the 1,800 in the month of July. And since the breakdown happened in the month of July, we saw our price has continued to trade below that structure to further emphasize the strength of the sellers in the second half of this year. And as a result of this, I was able to identify a supply zone around here where I said if we continue to see selling pressure below that level, we want to be taking advantage of a bearish momentum. Now, if we zoom into the current structure here, that is what has been happening on this chart since last month. We saw that as soon as price got back into the $1,800 level here, we have been witnessing a consolidation phase around that area, further emphasizing the indecision in this market. And with the current structure we have here, it's very important that we remain patient here in order to understand what is really going on around this level to make an informed decision for the week. Now, as you can see here, price is currently below the 1,800. So there is a tendency that we might be having selling pressure to continue below the 1,800, which might likely lead to the breakdown of the 1,785, leading into a retracement phase back into the 1,680 zone level, a level which was broken during the first week of last month's trading session. We saw the breakout of that structure. So there is a tendency that price might likely come into the structure in anticipation of another wave of bullish momentum. And another scenario that we might be looking forward to this week is if the consolidation phase here leads into a situation where price breaks out of that supply zone here, um, taking out all the sell position that we have here, then give us a sign that buyers are strong at this juncture, then probably buy pressure above this level on our lower time frame will be giving us a leverage to join the rally to the upside. So these are the two scenarios I will be looking forward to. But in order to have a better perspective into what is really going on in this market, we need to understand how participants in this market is relating to the $1,800 level on our lower time frame. Now, at this point in time, I would like to show you what I was able to identify on the 4 hours time frame. In fact, I have a simple setup which we shall be using to guide our trading activities for this week. And one thing I also want to let you know here is that we really don't have any major macroeconomic event for this week that will be bringing liquidity into this market to drive price movement. And as a result of this, we shall be focusing on the technical structures to decide what our next line of action will be. So at this point, I will scale down to the 4 hours time frame where I told you I was able to find a simple setup we shall be using to guide our trading activities for this week. Now, on the daily time, on the 4 hours time frame here, the first thing we should observe, we did observe here, is the fact that we have been on a bullish momentum since the later part of the month of September. As you saw here, we saw accumulation of bullish pressure around that 1620. It was so consistent. We saw the same thing happen here in the month of October. And during the month of November, here, the first couple of days in the month of November, we saw that move that sparked out of that zone, climbing up that trend line. And since price climbed above this bullish trend line, we have been witnessing a situation where price has continued to find higher lows. Now, if we zoom into what has been happening since the beginning of this month, we will notice that as soon as price got into the 1,800 and the $1,820 level here, we have been witnessing selling pressure since the beginning of this week to emphasize the tendency that sellers might likely come into this market. Now, what we noticed since the beginning of the month is that price action has been rejecting the 1,820, a sign that sellers are negating all buying pressure. So all attempt by the buyers to break out of that structure has been met with strong resistance from the sellers. And remember that we identified this important key level at the 1,800 on the daily time frame. So going into the new week, we shall be using this $1,800 level to guide our trading activities. So one important structure I'm looking forward to here is if price continue to selling pressure continues below the $1,800 level, breaking down that bullish trend line will be a sign that sellers are still very strong in this market. And if this is coupled with selling pressure on our lower time frame, we want to be joining a decline to the downside. And if a further breakdown of the 1,785 level happens, well, that will bring another opportunity to add more position at the site of selling pressure below that structure. Now, in as much as I'm looking forward to selling pressure here during the new week, it's important that we um, take into consideration the possibility that buyers could likely come in from this point in this market. As you can see right now, we are right around that bullish trend line, which has been holding bullish pressure since the beginning of last month. And if at any point in time this week price action breaks out above the $1,800 level, followed by buy pressure above the structure, it might be a good opportunity for us to join the trend continuation to the upside. However, if I am joining the bullish momentum here, I will also take into consideration the $1,820 level here, which has been a strong selling niche for participants in this market since the beginning of this month. So I will be wary of that level as I will be moving my stop loss accordingly as the bullish momentum continues to the upside. And not only if a breakout of the 1,820 happens here, that I will be comfortable in my buy position on the XAUUSD. But with the current structure here, I'm still tending towards selling momentum, especially if price continue to trade below the $1,800 level, an area which also shares a confluence with that bullish trend line. And if it continues in such a way that price breaks down the 1,785, selling pressure below the structure will be giving me another opportunity to add more position to my existing trade. So at this point, I would like to pause the video here, but be rest assured that I will be jumping in right in the comment section of this video to give you an update on what my expectation is going to be like on the XAUUSD after monitoring how participants in this market will be relating to the current structure that we are in right now. I hope this video has been of immense help in making your personal decision on the XAUUSD for this week. And if it did, kindly support this project by clicking the like button. Don't forget to follow me on my TradingView platform at Darksherry, spelled DARCSHERRY, so that you don't miss out on the regular daily commentaries I normally share right in the comment section of every video. I hope to see you right here tomorrow morning as we get ourselves prepared for the new week. Do have a wonderful evening, and once again, Merry Christmas. Bye bye.